Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Lisa Lee Oswald here from Plover Yoga in Plover, Wisconsin. Lisa, thanks for jumping on with me.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It is my pleasure. I love yoga. I would love to talk about Plover Yoga, your story. Is that okay if we talk about it?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, here we go. When people ask you what Plover Yoga does, how do you describe your business?
So we are an in-person, virtual, live streamed and on-demand yoga studio that makes yoga, or our goal is to make yoga accessible for everybody and every body. And our mission is to create personal empowerment, peace, and play in your life through the practice of yoga.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that awesome mission. So you've been practicing for a while now, and you studied not in Plover Yoga. What were your plans when you started your yoga practice, your business, and how has that changed throughout the years?
How's it changed? Well, I started practicing yoga to help me manage anxiety. And, it wound up carrying me through just a real low point in my own life. And so as I had kind of gotten through that and gotten to the other side of what was going on, I talked to my husband and I was like, listen, yoga has helped me so much. And I just feel like I need to teach it as well. And without hesitation, he was like, yes, sign up for the training, go do it, please. Like, absolutely. He didn't even ask any questions. And he's a lawyer, so questions are second
Yeah.
nature
Oh
for
my
him.
gosh, that's all he does is ask questions, right?
That's
And
right.
find reasons not to.
That's right.
Awesome.
So so I started my teacher training and I finished, and my very first class on the schedule was in 2016. Um, and I was so fortunate that I was able to go work for the yoga studio that I studied at. So I came on board their team as the director of teachers and as desk staff and as part of the the studio management team, loosely. There's not a whole lot of management that necessarily needs to happen, but I learned so much there. And then when we decided it was time to move home, where we're from, it just made sense to take what I had learned and what I was excited about and create a community that I wanted and that I had often looked for when we would visit our family.
Yeah.
So Plover Yoga opened in October of 2019. And here's where we talk about what's changed. My vision was a packed room with just an in-person experience. And we went from packed rooms and in-person experiences to being a 100% digital studio in 6 months.
Wow.
So now we're a hybrid, which is amazing because it means that we're not tied to our area, but we still have such an incredible and close-knit community that comes and sees us every single day and wants to move their bodies with us, but also with one another every single day. So
That is so cool. That's a huge change. Yeah, I think about, so you had what, 5 months and all of a sudden
it
doors
was 6 months
closed?
to the day that we opened that I had my very first virtual class.
Oh my God. Well, congratulations for getting through
Thank you.
that. Because that
Yeah.
there's a lot of time to prepare and build a customer or client base and then like go off. So really, really neat. So we know the benefits of yoga. So you're welcome to expand upon that if you'd like. But what do you think the biggest way that you impact the community is?
Um, I often joke when I'm teaching or when one of my team is teaching and they get caught up in like maybe saying right side instead of left side or missing something that they had intended to teach. Or someone falls out of a balance pose. Like my go-to phrase is this, it's okay, it's just yoga. Nobody's gonna die because you make a mistake at yoga. And I said that one day, like, ah, it's no big deal, it's just yoga. And one of my students looked at me and she said, listen, I know it's just yoga, but like this place makes a difference for people. We get to come here and we get to take time just for ourselves. We get to move our bodies. We get to examine our thoughts. We get to change how we're showing up for the people we love. It's not just yoga. It's not. It's an opportunity to get to know yourself and an opportunity to process a lot of sometimes really difficult, heavy things, sometimes really joyful things, sometimes just the mundanity of living. And so holding space for people to come as they are is a huge positive impact on the community. But then beyond that, in 2021, Plover Yoga introduced and launched the very first 715 day, which is a community celebration day.
Okay.
715 is our area code here
Yep.
in central Wisconsin. And so on July 15th every year, there's a social media hashtag campaign, hashtag 715 day. And local businesses do special events for their customers. There's shout outs and customer appreciation all across social media. We do usually a service class every year. This year, it falls on a Saturday. So we're partnering with several other local businesses, local boutique studios and fitness professionals to offer a full day of yoga and meditation and body mechanics and movement practices at a local park. So that starts at 7:30 on July 15th, and we're so excited.
So cool. I love that. Yeah, it's good. That's a Friday you said, or Saturday?
It's a Saturday this year.
It's a Saturday that you said. Okay, awesome. Well, that is really good to know, because Plover is not that far throughout, like, because it's in central Wisconsin.
We're right in the middle of everything.
That is beautiful. Good to know. I love that, how you're impacting the community. And you're right. And one of the students is right about that. You really are creating that space for people to process so much physically, emotionally, spiritually. So really, really cool stuff. Thank you, Lisa. My next question is, what is one challenge you have faced that other business owners can learn from?
So I have a fairly sizable team. I have 9 other teachers that share their talent at the studio. And a challenge with that can be like making sure my team feels heard and supported and able to speak with me as, ultimately the person that signs their checks. I don't know about you. I've had experiences with bosses and people that I report to that have been really suboptimal. And bringing something to people's attention sometimes can trigger a whole lot of defensiveness or a whole lot of just really unpleasant things at work. It makes it hard to want to be there. And so something that I've encountered is having to check that within myself and recognize that my team has something so valuable to offer, not just their time, not just their, willingness to show up in the space and take some work off of my plate, but they truly bring in a variety of experiences of life experience. They look like the community that we serve, and the community can see themselves in my teachers. Sure. And they are fostering so much connection with our students that I want them to feel like if they have something to share, if there's something that's important to them, I'm a safe place to do that. And so doing a lot of internal work, a lot of journaling, and a lot of checking my own assumptions or checking my own desire for things to be a particular way sometimes has been a challenge that has certainly come up for me. But in holding space for my team, I go home every single day and I am just in awe of who I get to work with, because they're so amazing and invested and willing, and they go beyond what I could ever ask for without the expectation being set or without the request. It's really paid off in such a big way to do the inner work and the inner coaching to foster a good place to be.
That is really, really neat that you bring that up. So our CEO and coach, we actually every Monday morning, we do a group meditation together to just try and get into the same space. But one of the things he often says is life is a mirror. And if you're experiencing some kind of confrontation or just a pushback in any way, even with an employee, think internally and think about what impact am I having that this is happening, you know, because it's not just one way. And I feel like that's exactly what you're saying with your team and how you're communicating with them and creating a space for them that they can want to open up and share.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-way street. I can't do what we do. The business doesn't exist without them. And if I can't acknowledge that I play a role, probably the most important role in our culture, because the leader sets the culture, the leader shows others the expectation, whether or not it's verbalized. If I'm not showing up the way I want them to show up, what am I doing?
Absolutely. Oh my
What
gosh.
am I doing?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
My next question for you is, what does the future look like to Plover Yoga? And do you have an exit plan?
I do not have an exit plan.
Okay.
I would do this every day till I die. I can't imagine what my life looks like without the studio.
Totally.
The future for me is, it's really rooted in community, in building relationships, not just between me and my team or my team and my students, but my students build relationships with one another. I get asked a lot, like, hey, I haven't seen so-and-so in a little while. Do you know what's going on with them? Are they okay? Or I overhear conversations like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. I'm so excited you're back. Or, hey, I had to tell you about this plant that I bought or this crystal that I bought. It's a hub for building community, and it's a third space in our community that doesn't revolve around, I mean, we're in Wisconsin, it doesn't revolve around drinking. It doesn't revolve around a lot of the other things that we're accustomed to in the state. And it's genuinely building friendships, and it's genuinely building, I think, like a higher consciousness living right here in little old central Wisconsin. And it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, I can see why you wouldn't have an exit plan then, huh? Wonderful. My final question for you, Lisa, is all subjects open. What inspires you most?
It's really people. It's the people that I get to hang out with every day. It's the people that I can bounce ideas off of and get feedback from. It's characters in books that I read, or people who are writing about, you know, like being my best self. I'm very much a people-driven person, and just like having relationships with and getting to interact with the folks that live and work in central Wisconsin, that come to the studio, that that show up in their own way, is so inspiring.
Totally. I would completely understand and agree with that. So if somebody wants to show up on July 15th, to show up at one of your classes, to show up, you're also doing a training in the fall, right?
That's right. Yeah, I am. Can't believe I forgot to talk about it.
No,
So, one of the modalities that I teach and that I've been developing since I became a teacher in 2016 is geared towards new yoga students who are intimidated, or who want to build a practice, but, you know, maybe like showing up to a 90-degree room and jumping up and down the mat and doing 18,000 low planks is not really their jam.
Yeah.
So I've developed a basics class that I teach. I used to teach it 3 times a week. We still offer it 3 times a week. Now I only teach it once a week. That builds on like different layers and different ways to adapt the practice. So I'm leading a continuing education training in October. It's 10 hours, and you get CEUs, which will mean something to Yoga Alliance members.
Yep.
10 CEU credits. So that's mid-October. July 15th, we're going to be at Piffner Park all day, starting at 7:30. We'll get done at 5:30, I think, with all kinds of fitness modalities and other local businesses showing up and sharing their talent and their passion. And you can just drop into a class either in person, via live stream, or through our on-demand library. And you can learn about all of this at our website, ploveryoga.com, or by following us on social media. We're at Facebook at Plover Yoga and Instagram at Plover_yoga.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing your practice and your practice, truly, right? On
Yes.
multiple levels. Lisa, it's been a pleasure. Good luck. Congratulations on opening and getting through COVID and continuing to grow and help grow other people. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.